The little blurb from AllMusic on their wiki is really funny about this record. It says Snuff has ability, humor, throaty vocals, and 9 different tempos to work in, as well as the occasional nutty brass and pretty 60s organ.
Yeah.
That's pretty spot on.
It really is.
Yeah, that's very accurate. What's up, everybody? Welcome to On the Record, the Fat Records fan podcast, where we're going album by album, side by side, and roughly chronologically through the whole damn catalog. I'm one of your hosts, Ben, and I'm joined by a sickly Alex today, as well as Josh.
Hey, how you doing?
How's it going?
All right, so today's record, Snuff, Tweet, Tweet, My Lovely, from a time when Tweet, Tweet, My Lovely would not make you think of Twitter or whatever it's called at this point. Let's go through the liner notes. So this was released on May 19th. Fat Mike seems to really like that mid-May release schedule. Have you noticed that?
It does seem like it's a lot of spring and summer stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The band lineup here was Duncan Redmonds on vocals and drums, Laz Wong on guitar, Lee Batsford on bass. It was recorded at Blackwing Studios, recorded also at Southern Studios, and it was mixed by Harvey Burrell and also by Ryan Green. Come on in, sir. All right. Okay. So let's get into this. Let's start talking about side one. Side one kicks off with the song "No Reason." I thought that it sounded very much like, a lot of their songs do, like Lifetime to me. You have those, it's fast, you have very slurred and snotty vocals going on. I thought it was some great shit.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of the punkest Snuff songs in terms of like just straightforwardness. There's not a lot of fucking around on this song. It also kind of feels like I guess in that same vein, it feels like the most Fat influenced song I think we've heard from them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought this was a decent lead-off track. It feels a little, I don't know, I felt like it was a little standard for Snuff. It's got those backing vocals and those horns that always keep it interesting, but I don't know, it's not the most memorable song to me. But it's not bad.
Yeah. All right. So moving on. Ticket is the next song.
Oh wait, you're gonna talk about what it's about or anything?
You're right. We should talk about that. I mean, it's,
I like Snuff's lyrics.
Well, that's true. I mean, to me, it seems to just be about like, I don't know, somebody spreading rumors and there being revenge.
Right. Which they've covered this type of thing before.
That's what I felt.
Yeah. I just really wanted to call out that I like the lyrics on this one, even though I thought the song was just kind of fine. Because I just I like the way he wrote this part where he says, "Whose answer? Who's to guess? A filthy bastard, a fucking mess. What rhyme and jingle tagged on behind? A vicious rumor starts to unwind." That was really interesting.
Man, that is really good writing.
Mm.
But yeah, he's definitely covered this topic before. So maybe they just need better friends.
Don't they all? Yeah. Anything else on this song?
No.
All right. So Ticket is the second song. As far as the song itself goes, I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was a little too folksy at times, but like it still seems to shine in spite of that.
Yeah. It's a cool song. In the interest of their ever expanding array of instrumentation, we get some hand claps in the song, which is pretty fun.
Yeah.
And I don't know. This song is a good example of Snuff not really settling into one vibe for too long either, which I really like. They don't let things, for the most part, get too stale in a song. Once something starts to feel a little tired, they move on to like totally, they'll shift it completely.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like this one. This is one of my favorites on the record, because I thought the music was more interesting, and I do really like those hand claps. Totally agree there.
Yeah. When they do something different is when this band really, really shines.
Yeah, but it's like that mix of the hand claps and the backing vocals. It gives everything another layer of texture that I think adds a lot to the song.
Yeah, for sure.
And lyrically, I think this one, it's another sort of thing we've seen a whole bunch of times at this point, just commenting on someone getting their ticket punched to ride in the war machine. It's just talking about kids joining the military looking for purpose and glory, and I think this one, it does a good job of capturing that, but it's not like a new take or anything.
Yeah.
I do
Searching for
like the part where what was that?
No, go ahead.
Oh, I just like the part where he says a big pub brawl in the sun. That's what the kids looking for.
No, I was going to say searching for fortune and glory, and then just winding up with a Dodge Charger and a DUI in most cases.
Yeah.
Shout outs to Dodge Chargers and DUIs.
Yeah. No, I thought this was pretty good. I like the lyrics. Anything else for this one?
Nope.
So the next song was Time Bomb. I thought that shit fucking ripped.
Yeah, short and sweet, man. Seriously badass riff to back the whole thing up.
So I became convinced that this song was on another record of theirs.
It is.
It is. Okay.
It is. Yeah.
So I started searching for Snuff Time Bomb, like digging through the results to try to find that, though.
That's a Google search, man.
It really is.
Instead, I found a article about smokeless tobacco. So it was a medical article about the smokeless tobacco time bomb. So Snuff Time Bomb can also bring up those sorts of results.
I thought maybe it'd be worse than that, but yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's in the grand scheme of
could
things.
be
It
way
worked out
worse,
okay
yeah.
for
Way
you.
worse. No, this was from Potatoes and Melons. The song Time Dub. That one that has that really wild effect where it was like moving from speaker to speaker. Which I thought was I like this version, but I thought that version was more interesting because of that effect. But I still like this one. I think this is a good addition to this record. And it's just like a slightly revised version of it. I am not sure what the hell this song is about. I kept looking at the lyrics and I was like, I just can't figure it out. He keeps saying, it's kicking off near you, and then he mentions a whole bunch of different people, like by name, to like people you should ask about it. I don't know. It's a strange lyrical approach here.
Could it be a lie? I mean, he likes to write about lies, right? Like that's shown up in some of the music before, some of the lyrics before.
He says to ask the Pope, so I guess maybe that could be like kind of like consult your, higher power, because he is lying. That's fair, I think.
Yeah, well, like the idea that like a lie is in some sense a time bomb because in most cases you're eventually going to get found out.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I could buy that.
While I'm thinking about it, while I'm staring at it right now, what do you guys think of the album art to this?
Something else.
I don't know what to think of it, to be honest with you.
This is like peak Spice Girls, right? Like that's what this reminds me of. Like it's like all the zebra and cheetah stripes.
It feels like somebody learning to use Photoshop for the first time and just like piling effects on. Like there's like plastic wrap and like cut out and all kinds of other classics.
It credits the graphics to Sergey though, so it has to be pretty intentional, whatever the hell's happening here. I'm not sure. It's just like a pattern.
It kind of looks We talked about last week that the Strung Out album art kind of looked like a bowling shirt. This also very much looks like a bowling shirt.
You know what it looks like is like a couch at like your trashy aunt's house.
Yeah.
Like it's got like zebra print, but also like some weird cheetah pillows or something.
Yeah. But this type of like these types of prints were very popular in the late 90s though.
It feels like the groove is in the heart video when I look at it. That's what I think of. That like pop song from the 90s.
I don't think I know that
By
one.
by D Light. You know it. It's
Okay.
you're probably not ringing any bells, but I would almost guarantee you've heard it.
Gotcha.
If on nothing other than like late night commercials for like, you know, music compilation, shit like that.
Now that's what they call music.
Even before that, when they would do those like dance hits of the 90s, and it would be like from like Time Life or something like that.
Okay.
All right. Next song is Nick Motown. We talked about Nick
The next
Motown.
song is not Nick Motown. It's
No, it's I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it.
It's incomprehensible. I couldn't figure out what the hell you even say.
Leif Tedu Lake.
Yeah. Yes.
Sounds good to me. I think it's a good breather track. I can think of like a nice 60s vibe.
This is another one of my favorites on the record.
I really like this one.
Yeah, I thought this is more on the ballad side of things. I really liked.
Yeah, we talk a lot about them with the extra instrumentation, and I feel like it really shines on this song because it makes it feel like this band feels bigger than they ever have, like on songs like this.
Yeah, I think this is one of their strongest songs. It's definitely one of the best in this style because you were talking earlier about how they can change styles so easily.
Yeah, their all music bio is like perfectly written. It talks about how they have like the humor ability and 9 different tempos to write songs in, and it was a pretty accurate write up on these dudes because that's exactly it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like the addition of the organ here a lot.
Yes, very much so.
Yes,
and it's a good change of pace after like those first 3 songs, which were fairly fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty. I mean, the gas pedal's pretty far down on those first few.
Yeah, and I think to me this, I could not figure out what that title was supposed to be. It's just nonsense. I thought maybe
I was like trying to reverse it. I was like, is it something spelled backwards? But it definitely wasn't.
Maybe some kind of like, I don't know. Do you call that? Is it like an onomatopoeia or something like that?
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah.
I tried saying it out loud to see if it made me think of anything. I couldn't do it. But it seems to me that the song is about being stuck in a self-destructive rut, I think. Again, I think maybe this one more than ever, the lyrics are kind of hard to decipher this time around on a lot of these songs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had no idea. So then now Nick Motown is up. It's a good song. Nothing new
song
though.
still rules.
Anything else to say about Nick Motown before we move it along?
We've already covered it. It's a good song. I like it.
Yeah, no, it's a jam. It's a jammer of a song, and it fits perfectly well here too.
Yeah.
So I thought Brick Wall was a pretty good punk song.
Yeah, this is one of the strongest songs on the album for me. It's one of my favorites.
I thought this one was really similar to the lead-off track, No Reason. And I thought maybe you lose one of these. I would pick Brick Wall over No Reason. They sound pretty similar. Yeah, I think maybe you just ditch one of them. But I like this one more because of it. I don't know. I think it's maybe the vocal melody or something, just a little bit different.
It's fair.
I do think it's kind of strange they didn't add the horns to this one. I think that could have really helped punch punch it up a little bit.
Oh, that would be good. I would never turn down more opportunities for horns from this band because they always seem to know how to use them.
Yeah, they're really good at it.
Yeah, no, I've never heard them use horns and thought to myself they shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, or like that they did something boring with them.
Yeah. Maybe if they didn't add them, maybe it didn't work.
Could be too.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else to say?
Not really, no.
Okay. So then the last song on this side is Arsehole. It is a ska song that has a very, very slow start. A little too slow for my tastes.
Yeah,
I dig it. It's a goofy song. It's as silly now as it was the first time I heard it at probably 16 or 17, but fully admit this still makes me laugh, dude. I still have fun with it.
yeah, it's fun in terms of its tone. It's like a party put on by a bunch of self-deprecating idiots or something.
Right, exactly.
My favorite part of it is just all the slang that they throw in here. It's very British, a lot of it. You know, he's got
rag.
yeah, wanker, tosspot, rag, just fuckwit,
Farts in a jar.
Yeah, fart in a jar. I like.
Fart in a Jar is a solid one.
My favorite is probably gobshites. I don't.
Yeah, gobshite.
Really.
Do you think that the toss pots are filled with farts?
You're a tosspot full of farts. Dang.
All right. Not much more to say about that. So, for the break before we flip it over to side 2, we had kind of talked about talking about some tweets that were that gave us some chuckles, and so I've amassed a handful, more than a handful, really. Josh, did you bring any?
I just grabbed a couple like mean tweets from. I was always a big fan of the Jimmy Kimmel does the mean tweet segment and has people on reading funny to cruel tweets about themselves.
Mhm.
So I grabbed a couple of gems out of that. One was that production group duo, the Chainsmokers. The guy's tweet is, one of my employees was talking about how the Chainsmokers are actually pretty good and they don't deserve all the hate. So I fired him. Which seems like an aggressive reaction, but also a pretty hilarious one. So another person tweeted about Russell Crowe that Russell Crowe is delightfully paradoxical in that he is a huge dick with a small penis. Which, like, I'm not going to body shame anybody, but that's a really funny line. And then the last one was about Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and it's all in caps, which it makes everything a little bit better. Look at me. I'm Julia Louis-Dreyfus. I was on Seinfeld, the show about white people in New York eating pickles and shit. Fuck you, bitch. It's so aggressive, but it's so fucking funny. And she read it and like lost her mind laughing.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Is that it?
Yeah, that was it.
So speaking of chain smokers, the first tweet I've pulled up for you guys is in quotes. It says, "Sir, did you just offer my 11-year-old son a cigarette?" And then it says "me" in colon, and then it's that shrugging picture of Kevin James. Speaking of mean tweets, I see I'm kind of rolling all these together. Somebody had asked, "Tell me about a time that you got owned so hard online that you cried." And this person posted a picture of them tweeting out, "They should make a Pokemon game that's good." And somebody replied saying, "They should make a pacifier for adults, you," and then a pointing emoji at a crying cat, crying laughing cat. Another great mean tweet, not at anybody in particular, just kind of at people in general, is the New York Post tweeted out, "Vaping does not harm pregnant women or babies. Shocking study claims." And this guy tweeted it with, "Girls with messy cars and cracked phone screens totally vindicated." I did not know that was a stereotype, but it seems like a pretty mean tweet.
It's very mean, but pretty hilarious.
Seems fitting in my experience.
There was a Twitter account, I was poisoned, and Taco Bell, Citrus Heights, California. Feel like I'm on the brink of death. I ate 4 crunch wraps from there yesterday, and I haven't been able to move without vomiting since. It feels like, and then it trails off. Somebody saying
like
that this is maybe a mean tweet. Ice Spice is sort of the Toad to Taylor Swift's Mario.
I can kind of see it. Similar haircuts and all that.
More terribleness on whatchamacallit, Twitter, and a account called N Wokeness. Netflix made a new documentary about Alexander the Great. Within the first 8 minutes, they turned him gay. And then he's being replied to by the QAnon shaman. Just FYI, from my reading of history, Alexander the Great was a well-known bisexual who actually preferred men.
Could you imagine being so dumb that the QAnon shaman actually is you?
Damn.
Just end it all.
I'm really scraping the bottom of the barrel here with Twitter at the moment. So
I think Twitter itself is scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Next one. If you're not vegan, that's foreshadowing, Alex. I'm not going to take you seriously when you say bestiality is wrong because the animals can't consent. We don't care about animal consent in so many ways, and if you aren't pointing it out when people eat meat, then I don't want to hear you pointing it out with bestiality. It's just turned into hell.
Oh my god!
Man,
wow. Oh my god.
So this is a deleted tweet from the CEO of Tumblr.
Oh boy.
I don't even know who it's intended to, but it says, "When we'll be honest with your followers that the repeated adult content violations were not pictures like this, but likely ones on your other accounts, actual names, Irish big girl, burger foot job, furry boy burps, breadstrogen, burp, dog girl ball sack, hung queen, big GF, big titty, big GF, girl taint, musk mommy, girl ball sack, shower sharts, sapiosexual breeder, whole thing, cat girl hairball, girl condom."
Oh my god! Girl ball sack might be the best one.
I can't finish. The next one is somebody tweeted Hideo Kojima. He was saying, "I got a garlic injection to avoid feeling bad, but now I feel bad." And so they tweeted it with a picture of Morrissey.
Garlic injection? Hideo, what are you doing?
Oh, okay. This one I just saw fairly recently, and it was one of my favorite ones I've ever seen. So this is a long one. It's multiple. It's a dialogue between aliens and humans. Alien, this Miller High Life, you said, has been delicious. I have enjoyed consuming your planet's beverages. However, it appears the bottle is empty. What is the Earthling custom in this situation? Me, you're not going to believe this. Alien, thank you, Earthling, but I must decline your offer of this American spirit. as it would damage my 8 alien lungs and shorten my extraterrestrial lifespan by 20 space years. 2 beers later, may I please procure one of your American spirits? Alien 2. I don't understand. By expelling the Earth atmosphere from their lungs and replacing it with nitrous oxide, the Earthling deprives its brain of oxygen, which is essential for regular function. Alien. Very, very low voice. That's right. Alien. This was a productive research trip. I believe I will pilot our ship more efficiently than usual. We will be traveling at 600 million Earth miles per hour. How many highlights? Assume the alien fumbling with the iPod. This song is called Stranglehold. Oh man.
Stranglehold
Okay,
does bang though.
There's only 2 more. We're almost done.
That one really ramped up.
It really did.
So this last one, or the second to last one here, is the Associated Press tweeted out that a New Jersey city that limited street parking hasn't had a traffic death in 7 years. Jordan Peterson quote tweeted it. You have become pathetic beyond comprehension, AP, and the woke death will soon visit you.
The fuck does that even mean?
This
What a
guy.
goofball.
Oh my god.
Man, this last one. Okay.
Center yourself, Ben.
Is anal squirting a thing?
Who's that from? At Ben Shapiro?
Or did this bitch get shit in my...
Jesus Christ.
I know that didn't really happen, but the idea that it might have is just so funny to me. Oh, man. All right. I haven't cried this much since I was 37. All right. So that's going to do it for the break. We're going to move on to side 2, side B. And the first song on this side is called Bob. And oddly enough, it is not about a skinhead who gives up drinking.
Another song where that organ takes front and center stage, man, and it's so good. I did write in my notes, oddly enough, that while it's not about a skinhead quitting drinking, I did write down that it reminds me of a raucous old two-tone song about, but it was like set to a bunch of people beating up skinheads or something.
I mean, it could certainly be about a skinhead who spends all his money drinking. But yeah. Any thoughts, Alex?
I liked it all right. Well, I didn't really have much to think about this one, but you know, I do appreciate the organ.
So the next song is All You Need.
All you need are super catchy backing vocals the song has in spades.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good song. I dug it. Don't really have much of substance to say beyond that.
Yeah, I like the organ and the keys in like a more supporting role this time around.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of cool. It's nice to see them use that and like kind of play it in the pocket as opposed to like taking the lead with it or something.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, it's another one of their more melodic tracks. You know, I feel like you know, I like it, but it feels maybe more like a little bit of a retread as far as the songwriting goes.
Yeah, I can see that.
But you know, it's certainly not bad.
Yeah. All right. So then the next song that came after that is Etc. I thought it was all right, but like kind of repetitive.
Yeah, I can see that. little bit of a hardcore lean to it. Pretty cool dark riff, kind of carrying it through.
Yeah, I think that's some of their Leatherface influence coming through. We haven't
Oh,
really
that's a good
heard
point.
a whole lot of that on the recent stuff, but I feel like it's there at least at the beginning of it. Yeah, it's all right. I think it's about, I mean, I think it's about depression. Um, this is another one where I was reading the lyrics and I was like, well, it could be about a few different things. But
Yeah, I could definitely see depression or like maybe even like a PTSD type thing with it. Definitely seems like a mental health issue.
yeah,
Okay. So Thief was a ska song.
I like this one, man. Any song that sounds like it could be off of a Give 'Em the Boot song compilation, okay with me.
I wasn't that into it. I thought it was okay. I think it's everything on this record is really like well executed. I don't think that the style is for me.
Lyrics are kind of cool.
It sounded like he's talking about someone stealing time from him. Is what I was kind of picking up on.
Yeah. 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 Waste an hour, waste an afternoon, and watch the thief go walking by.
Mm-hmm.
So then the next song, at that point, I was kind of just feeling like the album was starting to get too long. With Vera didn't.
Yeah. Did you guys feel this record leaned a little bit heavier on their punk stuff as opposed to the other stuff? I know there's a lot of keys on here, but it feels like there's a lot of these songs that kind of line up with the same tempo and like I always mentioned there's you could like stand to cut one or two.
Yeah, I definitely feel that here. I agree in both of what you guys both said. It's not that long of a record. It's like what 32 minutes, and
Yeah.
you still there's a couple songs here that are pretty short, but I think you still could have cut at least 2 tracks from this record. Yeah, it's okay.
Big Cozy, that was on the last record we talked about. It's a jam
Yeah.
song.
It's a good track. It reminds me of somebody, and it's driving me nuts that I haven't been able to place who.
I feel like this is. I should have gone back and listened to the previous version of it. I feel like this is different than that version because I don't remember them shouting the "who." Was that there in the first version of this? Maybe it was.
Go back and check.
I'd have to go back. Yeah, I don't know.
It seemed like it was a little bit different.
I really dug this song. That was one of my favorites. Not one of my favorites, but if it's in like the upper half of the album for me.
I would say like what I like about this one, like this isn't a song that I'm gonna go back to and like listen to individually, but I think this is the one that has some of that really like creative weirdness that we see on some of their releases, like especially when they do stuff like, they're covering jingles and stuff like that, like, but they're adding in like those little like chirps and stuff. There's chirping in this song. It's like really.
There's parts that are almost metal. Like at the end of it, there's almost like a metal part kind of.
I'm missing that weirdness across the whole record. I kind of wish that they had tried to do more of this like kind of oddball stuff to inject a little bit more character into some of the other songs. It feels like they maybe played it a little safe in some cases, but there's some creative stuff happening on this instrumental track.
All right. And then the last song, I thought it was all right. So Take Me Home, Piss Off.
Yeah, it's pretty decent closer.
Fun closer. It's about being drunk and being taken home, basically. Kind of morose a bit. Bruce Willis shoots them all and gets the girl. No guns, no girls. Somehow I've wound up in a Neaston. Is Is that like a car brand in the UK?
I don't
Could
know.
be a place. I don't know. It's a mystical land. I don't know all the names of all the places. Interesting. I thought this is the best track on the whole record. It is a really good closing track. It's definitely one of the more melodic ones, and
Yeah, nice guitar solo in there.
I thought they executed it really well. The bass and the palm muting that they do in the verses is like subdued in a way that sort of like lets Duncan's vocals show their strength. And that guitar lead, it sort of slides in with that flourish. It's really really good. And then I like those really like smooth backing vocals in the keys. And then it has like a true ending. Like it feels like a real closing track. It's not like a closing track where you're kind of like, oh well, there could be more. Like no, it's pretty definitive.
Yeah,
It's a real closing track. So I really liked that about it. And I really like the lyrics too. There's a lot of like colorful imagery. My favorite thing that he says is, "Can't fly, the pilot's pissed. Can't walk the ground. Can't walk, the ground flies up and hits me. Best scrape me into the cab and take me home." I really like that. The ground flies up and hits me. It's like, yeah, that's we've all been there, right?
I would say so.
So I think they closed it pretty strong.
All right. So overall, I think we all kind of thumbs up on this record.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think at this point we've covered a lot of Snuff's material.
definitely.
And we've a lot of it, and we've seen their strengths, their weaknesses, and the real like capabilities they have. But with all that in mind, coming into this one, I was a little disappointed with this record. Overall, I like this record. I think it's good.
Yeah,
I just kind of thought it would be better than it is. I wanted some of that really creative stuff that you hear on like mixed in on some of the other records. But I just don't see it on like all the songs. It's there in like little bits and pieces. Kind of feel like maybe they're hitting a plateau here a little bit. Um, you know,
I hope not, man, because they've been really entertaining so far.
yeah, it's like, just to reiterate, I like the record, but there's not really a whole lot here that I'm gonna come back to.
Yeah, I think you're right that they play safe a lot here.
Yeah. And I think this is a real downside for bands that release like a glut of material, is if you listen to all of it, you're gonna start to see how they kind of cannibalize their own ideas, and they can spots where they kind of repeat themselves. Like,
Yeah,
really not be surprised if this was a lot of people's favorite Snuff record because it was the first one they listened to. Because like I could see how if this was the very first one that you encountered, you'd be like, "Wow, this is really cool." But at this point, we've just listened to so much of it. I kind of feel like, "Oh, yep, that's Snuff. That's what they do."
right.
But it's still like them playing at the highest level they've ever played. I think it's really like they seem really tight, like they've really got it down and they know what they're doing. So it's still a good record, but not it didn't blow me away in a way that I kind of hoped it would.
Yeah, in terms of the stuff we've covered so far, this is probably towards the bottom. But even then, like that's still a pretty tight margin in terms of they're all really good albums.
Yeah, I agree with everything said here. I think this is good, but like, I mean, kind of a lead into the next part of the episode. When I was kind of just doing some reconnaissance on this album, I came across a review that described it as multi-instrumental, and it definitely is.
Mhm.
But I expected it to be, I think, more so than it actually was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That multi-instrumental, I expected it to. I mean, probably not on the same level as the next two records we're going to talk about, but
Not even close.
something maybe closer to that. it's hard to be on the level of multi-instrumental that the next two records are going to be on, but
yeah. It's some stiff competition, but yeah, once you introduce it, I feel like there is like I know you said that this didn't feel like a total one-to-one comparison to the two bands we're about to talk about, but I think that there's definitely connective tissue between Snuff.
Oh, it works. I mean, so um, we are doing a Back to the Future again, and the first record we're going to talk about is Husker Du's Zen Arcade. As somebody who hates long albums, I absolutely really like this 70-minute record. I love this 70-minute record.
25 tracks? I think
23, I
God,
think.
23. Good lord.
So one
Double
connection
album.
here is that Grant Hart does also drum and sing. He is
The
not
impossible task.
the main singer, but he is somebody else that is able to do both. Yeah. So yeah, it's a very big beast of an album to dive into here. This is one of the ones where like every time I listen to it, something new starts to stick out to me, and I get like a new favorite track coming out of a revisit. And that's one of the reasons I like it so much, is that it's such a beast of a record.
Yeah, there's
That
a lot to sort of discover as you go through it.
yeah.
It's true.
So this time that song was Somewhere, and really that I really appreciated the kind of 1, 2, 3 of Somewhere with the One Step at a Time interlude into Pink Turns to Blue. Like
Mhm.
that bam 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 is so fucking good.
Yeah, I had Somewhere on my list also. It's a good one.
Yeah, it's hard to fault this record anywhere really, like 'cause at the very worst, it's at least really interesting and really fascinating.
That's exactly true.
It is probably, I mean, it is one of the most creative punk records ever written. It's like it's like an impressionist painting that's been translated into punk music. It's just like it's clear. It moves from being like very clear to very fuzzy, and it kind of goes at its own pace. It just it's a double album that doesn't care about how long it is. It just some of the songs are really fast and some of them stretch out for a lot longer. But it's really hard to do a double album because eventually you're gonna run out of ideas, and
Yeah.
there's just so many ideas on display here. This record never ever lets you get bored. Like the sequencing is amazing. Like especially like the first like 4 songs are like unbelievably good. Um, Something I learned today, like the way that the bass opens it is just perfect. Um,
It song was really
it's really really good. Broken Home, Broken Heart. That the bass line that runs through that one
mine too.
reminds me so much of Descendants in all the best ways, and so does the vocal melody. But then like the guitars are really like can't be anything but Husker Du. And then Never Talking to You Again, like that's like just like a total curveball because it's all acoustic. And then it goes into, in my opinion, the best song, Charter Trips. That's my absolute favorite. It's easily one of my favorite songs by this band. And I've always wondered, if either of you know this, does Bob Mould have some kind of effect going on with his vocals? He sounds like he's almost like taking in helium as the song goes on.
I don't know. I don't think so, but I mean, I could be wrong.
It's so interesting.
Not at all well versed in this band.
I listen to it and I'm just like, it's at certain points he he sounds like he's going like really high, like helium high at certain points. And it's always been so interesting to me. But man, that just the vocal melody paired with that guitar lead is just amazing. I love it.
Yeah, the extent of my Bob Mould knowledge is that he worked for WWE for a period of time as a writer.
What?
Was it
Yeah.
WWE or WCW?
I think it was WWE.
I
think it was
thought
shortly. I think it was shortly after they bought WCW, but I could be wrong. Let me look it up. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he
used
may
to
have
do.
worked
What?
I think he did storyline writing for him. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of my favorite punk
Wow.
rock factoids ever.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like him and Kevin Nash are friends.
That's so ridiculous.
From
Shout
like that
shout
time
out to
that they
Kevin
worked
Nash.
together.
His new weed is really good. Kevin Nash has a strain of weed called Jackknife.
Not Kevin Hash.
That's a
Oh man,
Well-
that's a missed opportunity.
yeah, no, I like. Where is this record in terms of your ranking of their material, Alex?
Number 1.
Number 1.
Yeah, I put it at the
I
top.
always thought you were big into like the later 3.
Oh, I really like though. I like pretty much all of it a lot, but this one, no, this is the best one, I think. I mean, it's insane how much material they put out in such a short period of time. It's crazy. Like, it is very clear that these men were on drugs because holy shit, man. Like, they were cranking them out. They put out, what? They put out 2 records in 1 year, like separately. Like it's just wild. And then the one double out. They did 2 double albums. They put 2 separate records in the same year on different labels. That's when they did their major label debut. It's just it's nuts. Like, they were really just going at it so hard, and the level of creativity was so impressive. Because they just kept evolving. It's in a lot of ways like the level of creativity reminds me of sort of like what the Smiths were going through at that time. The Smiths really very quickly kept iterating on their sound year after year. Just, it's like these records came out so quickly, and each one was like another step up, another jump in terms of how complex it was. And I think Husker Du is kind of doing the same thing. But this one, something about this one in particular is just so cool. 'Cause, you can still hear a lot of that like hardcore influence. Like, Indecision Time sounds like a Black Flag song.
Yeah, some of the guitars are
Really
pretty
cool.
cool in that sense. Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
he's just raging through these songs. Like, it's like, which song was it? It's like there's, in the song Pride, like the way the guitar's whining, he sounds like he's strangling it. Like, it's just, it's really interesting. It's just like it brings together like all the different pieces of like the style of music and throws it at you in unexpected ways. And then I guess the last 2 I want to call out on my side is, Ben, you mentioned Pink Turns to Blue, which is fantastic. But I love Newest Industry. That one is really awesome. And then what I would say, Reoccurring Dreams is the last track, but I think the last song is Turn on the News, which is just like a really great like closer for the record. And then Reoccurring Dreams is sort of like it's like 14 minutes long. Instrumental, just like crazy soundscape. And then the last thing, the last thing I wanted to mention was a couple weeks ago. I went and saw a band with my friend and my girlfriend, and my girlfriend had taken an edible, so she was pretty high, and we're driving home, and I had this record on, and the song Hare Krishna came on, and she she was like, I hate this. Please make it go away. It was giving her so much anxiety. She was like, I don't want to listen to this right now.
That is
Harsh or
incredible.
mellow.
Yeah, it was really funny. But God, what a phenomenal record. I love this record. Is this your favorite,
So,
Ben?
it bounces around. For a while, it was definitely New Day Rising. It might be this at this point. But also Metal Circus has never let me down. I really like Metal Circus. Yeah,
Metal Circus
my
is great.
favorite might just be Metal Circus still. Um, yeah, I celebrate the entire catalog.
Yeah, for sure.
So Minneapolis NPR did like a Minneapolis St. Paul hardcore like documentary that like I think it was like broken up into like short episodes. And one of the cool things they talked about was before Zen Arcade came up, they already started to really alienate the audience with they put out a single. So Masochism World was the B side to the single, and the A side was like them covering a bird song, the
Oh wow.
60s rock band The Birds.
Really?
And so that was kind of like the, hey, we're not just playing like straight up hardcore
Yeah, we're
anymore.
gonna start doing weird shit. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like I think this album kind of just basically like the people that weren't willing to like evolve along with them all kind of left once this album came out.
Yeah.
Was the implication of the
I mean,
bit about Husker Du.
they left everybody in the dust anyway. I mean, my God, like the level of musicianship is just ridiculous.
Yeah, you can tell these dudes are in a whole different class from pretty much all their peers.
Oh yeah.
It's a, you know, feel like there's probably a lot of music that would not exist if this record had not come out too.
Yeah.
That was one of my notes. Is like it's not. I don't know necessarily that this record's for me. I think with time it could probably grow on me quite a bit. But that's exactly where I wrote down is that it's impossible to deny that you hear this band in just about every band you like if you are around our age.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's definitely like
It's like a completely unavoidable influence. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And beyond just like punk music too, like it
right.
definitely influenced I think a lot of people like outside of punk, which is, you know,
I think it's
not always
Husker Du's credited with like really helping create the whole like subset of like alternative like college rock.
Yeah,
Right?
I mean, you can look at the fucking Foo Fighters and see a Husker Du influence. You know what I mean? Like, that's how far-reaching it is.
Yeah.
I mean, Dave Grohl was all about this shit, so you know. But
of course, yeah. I mean, it's not a super huge surprise, but I mean, I think to the casual person, you know, they'd be a little shocked.
All right, so that was Zen Arcade. So that was the back, and to the future, we're going to. So Zen Arcade came out in 1984. We're flying all the way to the year 2018. Dose Your Dreams by Fucked Up. Even longer record. You know, just like Zen Arcade does not feel as long as it actually is.
No, it goes by really quickly for what it is.
Yeah, this is a really great Fucked Up record. Not my favorite, but definitely up there.
What's your favorite?
Hidden World, I think, is kind of stayed, over time. Like, I really liked Chemistry of Common Life when it came out, and I still think it's pretty good. There's some really great songs on that. And I really liked David Comes to Life when it came out. And again, there's still really good songs on that, but I feel like Hidden World and this are probably the top two.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, this is a band with so many ideas. It's no wonder that they record as much music as they do because they're just like, everything.
I don't know what they would do otherwise. Like,
right? Like
with that much bouncing around in you.
They're a band.
Well, and they all do a million side projects too. So,
but it's just when this band puts out any material, you don't even you probably can't even really predict what you're gonna get.
No, I wouldn't say so.
It's just like it keeps changing. Every time you think you know what it's gonna be, they find a way to surprise you, and they really up the ante on this one. And like this is a band that has written some very long records, and this is certainly one of the longest, if not the longest. Is this the longest one?
It's got to be.
Yeah.
If it's not, it's damn near the top.
Yeah, I mean it's essentially this is also like a double album. It's 18 songs, but the songs are often so long that like I feel like this has to be considered a double album. It's crazy how creative it is. Like I think it's uh certainly not going to be as influential as Zen Arcade, but it's on the same level of creativity. But like I think part of that is because Fucked Up is so many more people involved.
Yeah, it's like almost like a collective more than it is a band at this point.
Especially when you see the credits on this record in particular, there's like so many extra people added into it to really flesh it out, including Jay Massis, which is just like, okay,
That's pretty wild.
why not?
Yeah.
Which and the song he's on is really great.
So this is the longest at over 80, but David Comes to Life and Hidden World are both above 70.
Sounds about right.
Hidden World
I think
flies by.
I think Living in a Simulation samples the Transformers noise, but I'm not positive. Like it sounds like the Transformers like transforming noise, but I can't be completely sure. It sounds a lot like it.
I like that song. These
love
are all
that
just very
song.
fun, good songs. Yeah, it's a really good record.
Yeah, this is like very similar to Zen Arcade in the way that it starts with like these 4 really, really fucking cool songs.
Yes.
None of your business, man. Like, if you would have told me that they were gonna lead with a song that sounds like they were taking influence from Less Than Jake, I would not have believed you.
I know.
But they bring in that saxophone. That's the saxophone, right?
Yeah.
So good.
I can see why you say Less Than Jake. I don't know. For me, like I was thinking of it more like an Iggy Pop or David Bowie style saxophone coming in, but
Okay.
Less Than Jake also works as well.
Rockets from the Crypt kind of comes to mind too.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't they used to use horns every so often?
Yeah, it's just like that really upbeat sort of saxophone, and it's like that just makes me think of Less Than Jake immediately.
I can hear that.
Man, what a great leadoff track. And then Raise Your Voice, Joyce, to me sounds like it came from David Comes to Life.
Oh yeah,
It could have been on that record and been one of the standout songs on that record.
Was this one not also like a continuation of the concept of David Comes to Life
I've
concept
lost
album?
track of this band's conceptual ideas. It is out of control. They have exceeded what I can possibly piece together. They put out so much music.
Yeah. It's a thematic sequel to David Comes to Life. Something said that. Yeah. So it's not like a full blown, but it's I mean, it makes sense that like you can hear bits of that album in this.
Yeah. Tell Me What You See is really great. You got those the female vocals in there that really help it stand out even more. And then I really love Normal People because like the swagger of that guitar is phenomenal. It's so cool.
Dude, Normal People is probably my favorite song on that record. It's really cool.
Song. You got the saxophone is like MVP because of the atmosphere.
Yeah, dude.
Do the lyrics to that almost seemed like something that you would get like in like a Piss Gene song, maybe? I thought Torch to Light was a pretty good song. But Living in the
House of Keys is good too.
House of Keys sounds like a throwback to like their oldest material to me.
Yeah. I thought that too.
Okay, but then you get to the centerpiece, Dose Your Dreams. And this
super good.
This is like easily for me one of like this is one of their best songs that they've ever written. and it is because of like the heavy Stone Roses influence they're pulling at here. Um, it's amazing. Like I just did not expect this band to ever write something like this, and it floored me the first time I heard the song. Like I remember back when they were putting out this record, I was kind of like I was on sort of like the downswing with Fucked Up. Like I had really enjoyed a lot of their music, but I think after Glass Boys, I was like, okay, that was okay. But then I heard this song and I was like, whoa, wait a second. I need to hear what they're going to do on this record. And this is really the only song that's like this, but it's amazing. What do you do you agree with all of that, Ben? Or
Yeah, I mean, I think in general it's really cool that they've tried to like be like a hardcore band that like has an aesthetic and a style that would not be out of place in like Britpop.
mm-hmm.
You know, so like dabbling with, you know, lots of, I mean, they've been dabbling with like psychedelic rock stuff, I think, since pretty early on. Since Hidden World, a connection between that and Zen Arcade, they use and I think they've used it on a bunch of other albums, the kind of backwards guitars that Husker uses on a couple of the songs on Zen Arcade. And then that's something that like the Stone Roses also did, like the, you know,
Oh, no shit.
running the guitar part backwards, and you get that like kind of interesting, like kind of like wavy effect almost. But also going into like electronic music the way that like Britpop bands did as well is also really fucking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Living in a Simulation, I absolutely love that song. And then I Don't Want to Live in This World Anymore is also really excellent. Like the saxophone again is just like such a great add-on to that song. And then I think it's around this point that the record starts to just sort of like I still really like these songs a lot, but it's the record to me starts to come apart a little bit because it's like all these different people come in and start singing different songs and it doesn't I don't know if it all works, but it's all really good for the most part. I think the only song that I don't really care for on this record is Mechanical Bull, but I do appreciate how interesting it is. It's too industrial for my tastes.
I like it, but yeah, I can understand if you don't like that. Yeah.
And then Came Down Wrong, which is the one that Jay Massis sings on, is really great.
Jane Fair is the saxophonist, by the way.
Excellent work.
Yeah, truly.
But I mean, it looked like there was like more than 10 additional people playing on this record.
Oh yeah, a ton. It's interesting that the next album they made after this so didn't really have that going on after they had said specifically that they were going to move more towards this style going forward, and like Damien was going to kind of take a back seat going forward, and then it's like another normal fucked up album.
Yeah. Well, they've always got some weird twist that they do, you know. I really liked the record they just put out, One Day, and the whole gimmick on that was that each member had 24 hours to write their part of the song.
Oh wow.
And it's like an interesting constraint that you put on yourself, and I think it produced a really good record. It's one of my favorite records from last year. But
don't give too much away. We've got bonus fat coming up.
That's true. But yeah, really good band that just never, at the very least, they're never boring.
No. And it's always big swings, which is hard not to respect. I mean, like they're a band that's going for it. Whether everything works every time is maybe not. It's not always the case, but it's hard to deny the balls this band has.
I still I'm just so interested in the way this band was put together too. Like, wasn't the and I don't know if this is like some sort of like legend at this point that maybe isn't completely true. But the way that I remember hearing it was that the band leader is that Mike that put the band together, like the lead guitarist, like he like intentionally formed a band with people that he did not get along with, and the people that were all personalities that did not get along with each other. And this band is like legendary for having like throughout their run having like blow up moments where they just like get into full on fights in airports and stuff. Like like it's just like a band full of people that don't like each other very much, at least initially anyway.
I will say though that early on they definitely had like a media strategy of trying to spread myths about themselves.
Okay.
Was
Yeah,
kind of
that's
what
good.
they were doing.
Yeah.
It was also they had one of the founding members was Chris Colohan from like Left 4 Dead, Cursed, fuck ton of other bands.
Yeah.
And I think that I think that this was kind of something with him, and like maybe one of the guys in the band was in like Haymaker or something. It was like supposed to be like a Left 4 Dead Haymaker thing, maybe. I don't know. It was people from like a bunch of like local bands at the time, like local to that part of Ontario. Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's going to do it for Dose Your Dreams. And so that's going to do it for this episode. If you have any questions, comments, or most importantly, corrections on anything we might have gotten wrong, please email us at ontherecord@gmail.com so we can set the record straight in a future episode. We'll be back next week to talk about Swingin' Utters 5 Lessons Learned, and I've actually come to really like a song or two off of it. So tune in for that. I'm not just going to bash Swingin' Utters next week.
I might bash Swingin' Utters next week.
I still like Swingin' Utters a lot.